did you discover you had it?
Well, actually, I had some issues with my throat, a chronic cough, some swelling and stuff. And for 2 years, the doctors just kept telling me, no, it's you just have an infection, and kept giving me antibiotics and stuff. And then one day I woke up and I couldn't breathe, and went to the specialist, and he said, "Oh, you have cancer." So at that point, I kind of went into high gear because I was quite late along. They'd missed it. For,
When was this?
this was March of last year that they actually admitted that I had cancer. Um, and then uh, we had to get it moving along quite quickly, which is a little frustrating because they don't move that quickly. The incredible thing was, I had a session that day after going to the doctor's office and him saying, yes, you have cancer. You have throat cancer, and then booking me a biopsy and all this stuff. I had a session to do, and I couldn't get anybody else to fill in for it. And it was a lady by the name of Catherine Nicholson, who's a lovely lady. And I couldn't cancel it. I don't like to do that. So I come and sit down and say, hi, Catherine. So what are we doing today? She said, well, we're doing a meditation on people with cancer. So, and turns out she works for the Canuck House for kids. She worked at the BCCA before. And so that was quite something because I was able to come in here and deal with her and talk to her and let her know that, I just found this out. And she was very supportive. She was a wonderful resource. And was able to sort of put me through a couple of steps and help me get through the mire, so to speak.
That's very synchronistic to have that
That's
happen.
my whole life's been like that.
So you had beliefs and understandings and sentiments about synchronicity, etc. before this?
Oh yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
your
I definitely.
religious beliefs, does that play into anything?
I don't think we wouldn't call it religious based on what most people think. I don't believe in a church. I don't go to a church. I'm definitely a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm. Do
Well,
you?
um, as I mentioned, I knew I had something going on, and prior to that, I'd quit drinking coffee. Um, my body just told me to, and I laid myself on a fairly decent diet, I thought. Um, and I've been to naturopaths quite a lot over the years, so I was keeping in touch with them. But they didn't twig on anything either. But no, I was basically just trying to live my life and stay busy,
So
which is
you?
what I do.
Okay.
In a way, it was almost like, thank God, at least now I know that there's something wrong because they couldn't find anything wrong before. And it was very frustrating because I was getting, and because it took so long. I believe it was 2 years that I had it before they diagnosed it. Um, it was a very gradual thing, so I didn't really notice it that much until I realized, I can't breathe, and then looked at my throat and realized what a mess I was. That um, my first reaction was almost a relief, and then of course fear. So my first meeting with them, they were actually quite reassuring, telling me that I had at least 6 months, probably a year to live. Um,
BCCA said that?
yes.
What did your doctor say?
Um, well, that was that. My medical doctor, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
No, no. My medical doctor kind of handed me off to them because
I see.
now I have cancer,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm. So
So
they become the
they're the
specialists.
specialists. So he was my oncologist. Told me that um, unless I put myself in his hands, and then I'd be okay.
So, okay, let's get to that after. Six
Yeah.
months. What was going through for you at that point? I mean, you were
Oh, you
growing.
have no idea. Yeah, I have at that time 10-year-old daughter. She was actually just turning 10 because I found this out like 3 days before her birthday, and yeah, and my business and you know mortgage, all those things. So it was a shock, and you just but it's kind of like being on the road. You deal with it. Whatever they throw at you, you kind of deal with it. So um, I had to look at all the options, and uh, they were originally. Do you want me to carry on about the story about the cancer? They they were originally going to treat me with radiation and chemo, um, And to the extent where and I have to say, when they found out how sick I was, they tried to highball it quite quickly. So they made a mask of my face so that when they do the radiation, they can pinpoint exactly where it's going to go, et cetera, and did that. And then one of the other things they do, and this is what made me realize that I've actually was sick for longer than I thought, is when you have radiation, the type of radiation in your mouth like I do, it basically screws your mouth for a year or more, and you can't have any surgery or any repairs done or any dentistry done for at least a year, possibly 2 years. So prior to it, they remove any teeth or do any fillings or do anything that could possibly come up in the next couple of years. They get rid of it, right? Just eliminate it. So I went to their dentist who specializes in that. And he looked at my teeth. He said, "Oh, your teeth are great. You won't have a problem for years." And that's when I realized that maybe I had it for longer than I thought, because I had this chronic toothache for the last 2 years. And I was going to go to the dentist. Then my daughter knocked a tooth out, so I had to spend my dentist money on my daughter. And then my wife. So I never quite got to the dentist myself. But I realized that it was the pressure from the cancer on my nerves that was causing the toothache. Because almost the first chemo treatment, the toothache went away. And I haven't had it since. Yeah.